We've talked about attending, getting your brain's attention, getting the curtain to open, getting it into the encoding part of the brain. This is where the brain is making a decision, is this something we need to keep or something we need to get rid of? Once it decides it's something that we need to keep, remember now it goes to the hippocampus, which is the memory center of your brain, and that's going to be the decision maker. Am I going to, put this in long-term storage? And how quickly am I going to, is it something I'm going to have to continuously make a pathway to? Pathway. Really have to concentrate and work on getting that path through the Amazon jungle? Or is it something that's just going to bulldoze it? Like those very visceral emotional memories that we have. Or is it going to go into short-term memory? And what kind of memories, what kind of visceral ideas are we going to have about that memory? So that's where we left off. We were storing our memories. So let me get in here. There we go. I think this is where we left off yesterday, isn't it? We talked about the hippocampus and all of that. Did we get to here? Is this where we left off, or did we leave off earlier in the PowerPoint?
I think we left off past this.
Yeah, we passed hippocampus and neocortex and
Oh,
the
fabulous.
4 types of memory.
This is where we were, the different types of memories. Yes. All right, so we have our different types. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. You have your working memory. Working memory is something that you're just going to keep in your mind for a very short length of time. A room number, a phone number, just a length of time to put it in your phone. And then you also have your long-term memory. And this long-term memory can vary. Long-term memory could be considered for days, months, or even years. And that long-term memory, we talked yesterday, you have your declarative memory. And this is a memory of an event, something that you don't really need to have much effort to be able to recall. What did you have for dinner last night? What is your phone number? Non-declarative, this is going to be a memory through performance. Now, we incorrectly sometimes call this muscle memory. Okay, so if you want to get technical, if you want to get very, detail-oriented, muscles don't have memories, right? Muscles are muscles. Muscles are muscle cells. Muscles use things like nerve impulses, and they use a bunch of electrolytes and minerals like calcium, potassium, sodium in order to contract. There is no memory. What they're talking about when they say muscle memory is that you have an Amazon forest pathway that is so well bulldozed, you don't even need any kind of conscious thought in order to carry out an action. An example would be riding a bike. Riding a bike is muscle memory. You get on the bike, you don't have to think back to when you were learning how to ride a bike and you were having to balance and you were having to steer and all of that was going on. Now you hop on, whoop, off you go. That's muscle memory. So our brains have the capability to send a message to my body, and that's called a motor message, and that's what causes movement. And I have my body sending messages to my brain. Those are sensory messages. Those are giving my brain something to interpret. The more that I send a specific message to my body, the less I really have to think about it. That's exactly right, Cass. Playing an instrument, the piano, the guitar, you got, oh my goodness, Some of these guitar players are redonkulous. If you want to see ridiculous, there are two guitar players. They are two of the best guitar players in the world, Yngwie Malmsteen and Steve Vai. So go watch them, especially Yngwie. Whew, his fingers move so fast you can't see them. It's amazing. Oh yeah, Marwin knows Yngwie. Not many people know about Yngwie Malmsteen. He's amazing. So treat yourself this weekend. He did an amazing video with I think it was like the Philharmonic or one of those big orchestras. I don't remember which one. Fabulous. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. But that's non-declarative. So declarative is something like more fact-based, and then non-declarative is going to be your muscle memory. Oops. All right, so what should we not be doing? Oh, I lost my mouse again. There we go. What should we not be doing? We should not be cramming for tests. If the first time you pick up a book to actively study for a test is the night before, or even worse, the minute before, you are going to have an issue. You might be able to retain the information for hours, minutes. However, this is in your temporary workspace. The other thing is that cramming produces those stress hormones. That cortisol starts to go up, and we know now, what does cortisol do? It closes the curtain and doesn't allow anything in. You may end up passing the test, but remember, it's not just tomorrow's test that we're trying to pass. It's putting this stuff in our brains. We need to remember, not just for the VTNE. I know for a week, we've been hammering, and we will continue to do so. VTNE, VTNE. The other thing is, guys, you're going to be technicians. And I know I'm telling you something, you're like, yeah, no dumb is Huff. Sometimes I don't think you guys understand what that means. Everybody got to show us your own fur babies. Oh my goodness, how much do you love those fur babies? I don't even know where my fur babies are. Oh, there they are. I will show you my fur babies here in a minute. I love my fur babies. They are like my real babies. I do not have human kids. I have my fur baby kids. And I think I'd probably mess someone up if they hurt them. Right? I'm going to fight you if you try and hurt my dog. I'm a technician, which means that you are coming to my clinic. Your animal is scared. Your animal is sick. You are a nervous wreck because you don't know what's going on. I need to convey a level of professionalism and a level of knowledge that will allow you to feel good about giving me your fur baby. Think about the kind of trust you're instilling in me as a technician by handing over your fur baby. If I crammed on the test for the pertinent information that pertained to that specific case, I could really hurt something. Especially if, like, the pharmacokinetics, this anatomy, if I don't remember the different bodily functions, which would lead me into how to properly perform a test, which could lead me to getting inaccurate results, which could lead to this animal's death. That's a pretty big responsibility. So although, yes, it's okay for you maybe to just pass this test, but if the information you crammed for is the information you need down the line to help a doctor diagnose a condition, well, it's not helping anybody. So definitely don't do yourself a disservice and just start cramming the night before. Cramming doesn't help. See, look, I got ahead of myself. We're going to say the letters VTNE about 4 quadrillion times. Got to keep it in the forefront of your mind. You are in your first week. You have now been 5 days. We got to keep your eye on the prize. And your eye on the prize is to get your license and become a contributing member of our medical community. I loved the comment earlier that VTI is a community, because I think we are. We work very hard to build a sense of belonging. No matter what cohort you are, there's anybody, any VTI student, regardless of cohort, regardless of scrub color, is there to help and support. Those of you who had an opportunity to come to my social on Wednesday got to see a wonderful representation of every cohort. That's just like the medical community. Although, yes, there's a lot of veterinarians here in Houston. There's a lot of veterinary technicians. We're a small bunch. The veterinary community is a relatively small group, and we're all kind of connected. It's kind of crazy. Everybody's worked with everybody. Like I am 3 stops away from every veterinarian in Houston. It's kind of like that Kevin Bacon game, you know, 8 degrees, 9 degrees of separation, 7 degrees. I don't know how many degrees of separation, but it's something from Kevin Bacon, where you list an actor who's connected to an actor who's connected to an actor who will be connected to Kevin Bacon. That's me. That's pretty much every technician. So that's the eye on the prize that we need to keep you engaged to. Okay, finally, we're at the last stage. Huzzah, retrieval. None of this stuff works. None of this stuff matters. The attending, the encoding, putting it into the appropriate storage. Thank you, Alexi. That was driving me insane. Doug on the wheel was like, how many is it? I couldn't remember. I actually love that game. I'm very good at that game. And it's a game that I use to do a little bit of self-hypnosis when I have trouble sleeping. It's kind of like my version of counting sheep. I pick a random actor and I connect him to Kevin Bacon. Anyway, enough about that. So we've got it in the storage hopper. None of that matters if we cannot retrieve the information. If we cannot retrieve it when we need it for our jobs, for a patient when we're technicians, if you can't retrieve it, it's as if you never had it in the first place. You must attend, you must richly encode, and by richly encode, I mean active. Somebody remind me of the medical term for rupture.
Rexis.
That is richly encoded. That was actively encoded. That's what we need to do. Now, every single time you retrieve a memory, every time, you are strengthening the pathway to that piece of information. You're helping to strengthen the synaptic connections. That's a really fancy word for how your nerves talk to each other. It's really, again, I find the brain and the nervous system so fascinating. All right, so when you guys were little kids, did you ever play the telephone game? Some of you guys might call it the operator game, where you have a secret and you whisper it to the next person who whispers it, and then the final person tells the secret. Unfortunately, usually it's all scrambled up by then. But the premise is the same. That's the idea behind how messages get passed in your body from and to your brain. Neuron to neuron to neuron. We have these little neurotransmitters, these little chemicals that are the whisper. And we have a network of neurons. And we have to select the correct path in order. Think about how crazy this is. My brain has an idea that I want to move my right hand until immediately my hand is moving. My left hand didn't move, my feet didn't move. It had the appropriate pathway through hundreds and hundreds of thousands of nerves to do this. That's crazy. So here is your study challenge for this weekend. I'm actually going to do a stop share right now. All right, so here's what we're going to do. You should be reviewing your classwork every day. Every day. Just a little bit. If you do it every day, it won't be overwhelming. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your at-home notebooks. You're going to get a notebook for every single class. And you don't bring that to school. That is your at-home notebook. You're also going to get 4 flashcards. And you're going to write the name of each class on one of those flashcards. So you'll have one flashcard that says intro, one that says midterm, one that says A&P, and one that says behavior. When you get home from school, you're not taking anything out of your book bag. You do need to, however, make sure you have everything you need to effectively study. If you need your textbook, if you need your notebook, whatever it is that you need for you. You're going to take those 4 note cards, put them face down, scramble them up, and pick up 3 of them. Put the other one away. We're only going to be studying 3 topics. Automatically, we've started interleaving. Remember that term where your brain doesn't like unfinished business? Because your brain automatically, when I started talking about this, your brain automatically assumed what? You would be studying all 4 of your classes every day. Your brain's already off kilter right now. The 3 flashcards that are still face down on your table, you're going to select one of them at random. That's the topic you're going to start with. You're only going to pull out your notebook and your textbook for that one class. And you need to be in an area that is conducive for learning. You're going to set your time. Oh, by the way, this little monkey is not used as your timer. Guess what happens to this guy? Turn them off. Because your brain is automatically listening for the buzz, listening for the vibration. We need to attend. I can't do it if my brain is bouncing back and forth, worrying that I'm missing out on something on my phone. So turn it off, put it in a different room. Use the microwave. Go buy yourself a cheap egg timer. Set it for 20 minutes. And for 20 minutes, what you're going to do is you're going to review that day's material. In your notebook, you're going to write down keywords, things that really just jump out at you. You're going to draw pictures. You're going to come up with an analogy. You're going to use colors. It doesn't matter. Nobody but you is going to see this book. This is your at-home book. Write down whatever reminds you of little stories. You'll notice that all of your instructors use little stories to try and reinforce information. Write some of that stuff down. Anything that will help jog just like the vision of the zombie whose name used to be Rex. When the 20 minutes is up, what do we do? What do we do, guys? 20 minutes is up. Close it. I don't care if you're in the middle of a sentence. I don't care if you're in the middle of writing a letter. I don't care if you're in the middle of coloring a picture. The minute that timer goes off, the pen gets put down. Your brain doesn't like that very much. And a lot of you actually grimaced when I said that. You're like, ugh. Your brain doesn't like that idea very much. But that's okay, because guess what we've done? We've left a loose end. Your brain's going to work on that in the background. So once that first 20 minutes is up, I need you to pack up all your stuff in your book bag, just like you would if it was the end of class. And for 10 or 15 minutes, you're going to get up. You need to do something non-school related. Go watch an episode of The Office. I am a huge Office fan, by the way. Huge. I think right now I'm going through this series for probably the 8th or the 9th time. Huge Office fan. Go watch one of those. You know, go for a walk, play with your dog, whatever. I don't care. Something non-school related, 10 to 15 minutes. Then you're going to come back and you're going to pick a second card and you're going to do the whole thing again. Can't go back to the first card. Only one. Pick up the second card, do the whole thing again. After 20 minutes, go take a break, come back, do the third card, and then you're done. Now, tomorrow, your brain automatically is going to anticipate you doing something. You studied 3 of your 4 classes. What does your brain anticipate you're going to do tomorrow?
Study the 4th.
Start by studying the 4th that you missed. And yes, we are going to do the 4th. However, we're not going to start with it. What we're going to do is we're going to take that 4th class, put the other cards down. We're going to pick 2 at random, and then we're going to shuffle them up and we're going to do them in random order. We don't ever want to be a foregone conclusion to our brain. Our brain must always kind of see us as an enigma. And then tomorrow you do the whole thing again. You take that day's lesson, 20 minutes per class, writing out just keywords, really thinking, really anticipating, really considering the information, writing down any questions that you didn't understand. Again, pictures, analogies, that sort of thing. 20 minutes per section, put it away. I told you at the beginning of this lecture that the human only has about an 8-second attention span. Now, that doesn't have anything to do with recall. That means that my brain is bouncing back and forth between ideas every 8 seconds. What I need to do, excuse me, is keep him engaged. How do I do that? Well, by active learning. And Doug just fell hard off the wheel. Hang on. Where is my direction on that thought, Douglas? I had a great direction for that thought. It's gone. my mental hamster just fell hard off the wheel. Oh, hey, I forgot to show you. Hey, this is Doug. That's my mental hamster, Doug. I will prove it to you.
Oh my God. Ah! Very cute.
I have one too.
You have one too. I've had my mental hamster. His name has been Doug since I was younger, before I even started, working at Vet Tech Institute. And just, I guess it was last year, the Onyx who are still on campus, one of my Onyx found this and gave it to me because his name is actually Doug. So my hamster is not named after this guy. This guy is named after my mental hamster. So there you got a picture
That
of
was
Doug.
awesome. I thought for sure you put that name on him.
No, not on that one. Doug has always been my mental hamster's name, and I don't know why. He just whispered it to me in my brain. I don't know why. All right, so going back to your study techniques. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Look at that. See, brain was quietly working on that the whole time in the background. Just proved it. All right, so we have an 8-second attention span. We also have a very short period of time that our brain will actively engage in any one activity. Guess how long our brains will actively engage? How long did I just tell you to do each of your study sessions for?
20 minutes.
Guess how long your brain will actively engage in a topic?
20 minutes.
Bam! About 20 minutes. Every 20 to 30 minutes, your brain, although yes, has been bouncing back and forth, but your brain suddenly goes, yeah, I'm gonna consider going away. It's like that SpongeBob meme. All right, I'm headed out now. So every 20 to 30 minutes, you may notice that some, if not all of your instructors will, I personally call them brain breaks, where I'll give you a personal story or something that happened to me in clinic, or something that is relevant to the material but an entertainment, something that allows your brain to take a little relaxation just for a minute and then come back. Basically, you got your service dog, and right now your service dog has got his little vest on and he's performing his job. When I start telling you and showing you Doug and talking about things like altering my sister's memory, which still cracks me up, stuff like that, it is pertinent, it is relevant, but what I've done is given your dog an opportunity to take the vest off for a minute and go have a little romp. Now when we put the vest back on, guess what happened? My 20 minutes reset. And so now I have your full attention for the next 20 to 30 minutes. For those of you that are doing these hours and hours and hours long study sessions, you're not doing yourself any good. You're giving yourself anxiety, you're increasing your cortisone levels, and you're not retaining the information. 20 minutes of active studying will far outperform hours and hours of passive. Give it a try. See, I've been around the block a couple times as far as college is concerned. So give it a try and see if you're not happily surprised. So that's my challenge to you. Get in here. All right. So you're going to have your study session. This says 15 to 20. I say go ahead and do the full 20. 20 minutes, and then, like I said, stop. And then you go on to the next topic. You don't get to go back to the same topic. Now, I know you're like, but Ms. Huff, what if we have a test tomorrow? If you have been reviewing consistently every day, a little bit, you don't have to cram for the test. Doing your 20 minutes and having an entire book of nothing but key concepts, right? Your home notebook is not you rewriting the notes word for word. It's you reading a concept and gleaning out 2 or 3 words. This is all you need to reinforce. And so having to have hours and hours of long study sessions right before a test, you're not going to have to do that anymore because you're already going to have established the pathways. So when you are studying, these are just more tips. Don't reread, don't copy, don't highlight. I mean, you can, but not as your primary form of study. All of this is passive. We need to actively engage the brain. We need to avoid that false sense of familiarity. Remember, we talked about that. That is when your brain makes you think that you know something when you really don't, because your brain is bored and wants to go do something else. If you're using flashcards, which is fine, use the flashcards. However, do a pickup where you drop them all on the floor and you just pick them up randomly. Some of them should be backwards, upside down. If you are bilingual, oh my goodness, you have a leg up on everybody. If you are bilingual, do you know how strong a pathway you are forming if you are taking a topic in one language and converting it and translating it into another, oh my God, the neural pathways that are being formed is insane. So if you are bilingual, use it. Use that, because there's nothing stronger. You are having to not only consider and think about the topic, but your brain is having to take that topic, translate it into another language that still establishes the concept. Holy smokes. Auditory. Write out your answers and say them out loud. Talk to your spouse, your significant other, your dog. Say it out loud. Because as I am talking, remember, everything is about forming as many pathways to that piece of information as possible. Well, right now, I have the pathway where I am forming the words, the vibrations coming out of my larynx. I have the pathway of the words going into my auditory center. That's two completely separate pathways. Alyssa, all I saw was this cat butt. That was funny. That was very funny. So say it out loud. The other thing is that you should not just take for granted that this stuff's going to be processed by your brain. So hearing the answer causes the auditory process of our information. The way that you can conceptualize and make sure a concept is concrete in your brain. They say that the way to master a topic, you see one, do one, teach one. That's the premise behind teaching. I will show you a concept. You will use that concept to your own degree, and then you will teach that concept to someone else. This also works for your technical skills. A great example for this is when I am teaching radiology. Right? I teach you how to take radiographs. And guys, they are not called x-rays. The person who calls it an x-ray, I'm punching you in the face. Okay? And that's on record. I'm recording myself right now. I punch you in the face. It's not an x-ray. We use x-ray, which is a form of energy, and convert that into light energy to create an image on a screen. That is a radiograph. Alyssa, your cat is killing me right now. That is the cutest thing. That was, for those of you that
Very
didn't see it,
needy today.
so pretend that Douglas is my cat, and Alyssa is very attentive. She's really being attentive, so Doug is my cat now. And she's very attentive, and all you see is this. This came up just so quiet and so ninja-like. It was awesome. All right, so as I was saying, see one, do one, teach one, radiology. So when you're learning how to develop a radiograph, I'm going to take you into the x-ray room, right, into the developing room, and I'm going to show you how to do that developing. The next time, I'm going to have you show me. Show one, do one. Then I'm going to have the next student go into the dark room with you. And what are you going to do? Teach one. So this is the concept. You will know if you have a concept down, if you could explain it to someone else and have them understand. That's the best. If you have a very patient, supportive, somebody in your family that would be willing for 20 minutes to learn a concept, if you can teach a concept to someone else, that is a very, very dramatic foundational understanding. and it's cementing in that pathway. When you are trying to retrieve answers from your memory, try and identify maybe 3 other topics that are connected to that same answer. You're linking your pathways, kernel of information. You're now creating cross streets to that kernel of information. Another thing you could do is also say the one correct answer, but then also identify 2 or 3 other close answers so that you are not confused. Because everybody in here has taken a multiple choice test. I assume, maybe I should not assume. Everybody in here has taken a multiple choice test. So you know there is 1 correct answer generally and 3 incorrect. But those incorrect answers are going to be very, very close to the correct answer. And in fact, some multiple choice questions, you need to select the answer that is the most correct. So here's an example. This, oh my goodness, these are some great words right here. Oh my gosh, how smart do you sound when you're saying words like this? Toxocara canis, Toxocaris leonina, Toxoplasmosis gondii. Okay, don't panic. I know you're in week 1, you're like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? These are all the Latin names for some parasites, and you're gonna learn these next term. So if the answer is Toxocara canis, by the way, just so you've heard it before, is the roundworm of dogs, right? Roundworms and hookworms, 2 most common worms in dogs. Toxocara canis, roundworm. Toxocaris leonina is a roundworm, but it's more of a northern roundworm of dogs and cats. Toxoplasmosis gondii is a clostridium, which is a form of like a bacteria. But they all start with toxo, toxa. So if you're trying to memorize these Latin words, by getting the pathway in your brain not only to the correct kernel, but veering it away from the incorrect. So now if you see these 3 options on a multiple choice test, what is the common hookworm, or I'm sorry, roundworm of dogs? What is the Latin name for the common roundworm of dogs? You've already established a pathway to the correct and the incorrect answers. And that is my spiel. That is my spiel. Comments, questions, concerns?
Will we be using the book in class a lot, or so every day we need to bring our book to class?
So that's a great question. And my answer to that is, so I don't require that you bring the text. However, as I said at the beginning of this kind of little toolbox lecture series, you need to gauge what best preparation means for you. So am I going to be doing information out of the textbook every day? Yep, I have mine. Bam. I got mine right here. Gonna be following along in the textbook. But guess what, guys? You're adults. Oh, and I hold you accountable for your own success. So if bringing the textbook every day, if you want to leave it at home and do that as your review, you want to bring it and you want to highlight the key words so that you are able to more effectively use your 20 minutes at the end of the day. Whatever works for you is fine with me. I am going to be gleaning information out of my PowerPoints. But I do also want you guys to know, and this is on recording, so when one of you comes back and says, Miss Huff, you never said that, Matt. Yeah, I did. It's recorded. Yes, I have my PowerPoints. My PowerPoints right now are I do have this PowerPoint. And actually, Aubrey, I think I've already loaded this one on my Moodle. There's not a whole lot on my Moodle. What group are you? Are you C and D? Are you A and B or C or D? A, okay.
A.
A and B. So if you go on my Moodle, this PowerPoint should be up there. Otherwise, until I get this Moodle set up, that's my website, katherinehuff.synthesite.com, and it's on the homepage.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. So I'm recording this so that you have heard it. I tell you, yes, my PowerPoints contain the majority of the information. Like, I condense it. I don't use a lot of wordy PowerPoints. However, anything in the chapter is testable material. Just because it wasn't in my PowerPoint does not mean it is not fair game for a test. So I would recommend in some capacity at least reading over the textbook. The other thing that I do want to let you know that going forward, so there is your textbook. In your textbook, as you are going through it, so here we have, oh, look where we're going to start, guys. Chapter 1. Seems like a good place to start. As you are thumbing through the chapter, what you're going to start to see are these little blocks of questions called test yourself questions. And they're sprinkled throughout the chapter. So turn our page. They're not on every page, but look, there's another block of test yourself questions. And what I am going to be having you do is filling out and answering those questions. Just handwrite, okay? I don't accept computer printed. Handwrite, you don't have to write the question. Just handwrite the answers to the questions, and you're going to be handing those in at the end of every chapter. Those test yourself questions are questions you should be doing anyway. It just means I'm giving you some points for something that you should be doing anyway. The way that I want you to format these questions. Okay, now obviously I'm going to be typing it out. You are going to be handwriting. Why am I requiring that you handwrite these questions? I'll tell you why. Because previous cohorts ruined it for you. They wrecked it. They were jerk faces, not the cohorts that are on campus now. I'm talking about previously. You know, there's that one bad apple that always ruins everything. So several years ago, I started noticing that I'm looking through, and these are completion grades, guys. If you hand them in and you completed the questions, you get the points. But I started noticing that all of the answers were the same and all of the pages were formatted exactly the same. What the heck? One of the students had found the answer key and just copied and pasted the answer key into a document and then shared it. One guy didn't even take the watermark off of it. Okay, is that doing you any good? Is that activating any kind of pathways in your brain? No. So now I require that you handwrite, because I'll be darned, you're gonna get something out of this. All right. Oops. Yes.
How often do you use your textbook now? Like, do you still go back and refer back to textbooks?
You mean me personally? Absolutely. Heck yeah. So here's what's funny. Oh, I don't have a Big Bertha. You guys have your Big Bertha. I have a Big Bertha from when I was in college. I still have all of my old, if you come into my office, I have all of my old textbooks from when I was in college, and I refer to them all of the time. In fact, oh, I don't have my Merck's. I usually have my Merck's manual right here beside me, which is kind of the dictionary of every disease ever known in veterinary medicine. So I use mine all the time, but here's what's funny. Again, I'm going to date myself here, which makes me look really old. What version is your Big Bertha? You have like what, the 8th edition? This-
9.
Oh, Jesus. You have the 9th edition? Mine was the 2nd edition. And it's only about that thick. But I still use it. It's all got this exact same information. It just doesn't have the nice glossy pictures that yours does. I use it all the time. So what I want you to do with these test yourself questions, this formatting is going to be very important. In the, actually, I'm going to do a draw. All right, so in the margin, you're going to write the page number, page whatever, the page number that the test yourself question was on. On the first line, you're going to write 1-1, 1-2. Each test yourself question, I'm just going to go random to some random test question here. Find one. See here? Oops, I need to find myself. I've been scrolling through you guys. Like, see here, this one is 6.1. That's what you would list. The next one would be 6.2, 6.3. So you're going to list out those. So we have 1.1, and then we have question 1s, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. Then you're going to skip a space and write the page number for the next test question bank. You're going to do 1-2, question, question, question. Skip a line, the page number of the next one. What this does is now, again, I'm not grading this for content, guys, and I will be handing these back. You are effectively making and creating yourself a study guide for the midterm, because your midterm is a cumulative for everything that we will be doing this 8 weeks. You put into it what you want to get out of it. I am going to be just looking at the number of the questions and looking at the sections and making sure that you answered all of them. Then you get, excuse me, then you get the full completion points. And yes, the main priority of this school, guys, holy smokes. Okay, I'm going to stop share this. This school is different. Like right now, my history class, my professors don't give a crap if I pass the test, keep my GPA. This material that we are teaching you guys is life or death. Literally. Literally, yes. Literally. We are teaching you how to successfully not kill something. So kind of important that you actually learn this information and not just 4.0 GPA. All right. Does anybody have any questions as to the format for the test yourself questions? Because if they are not in the appropriate format, I'm not going to guess. You're not going to get the grades. Part of the grading is that you have followed my instructions and you have done it in the correct format.
Do you have
Or-
a form?
Sorry, go.
I was gonna say, do you have a format for like how you want like our period number or something for like organizing wise?
No, as long as there's a page number and then the test yourself bank number, number your questions, space in between. Oh, invisible bug. Excuse me. Because what I'm going to be doing is going through the chapter, seeing how many banks there are, how many blocks of test questions, and I'm just going to scan down and make sure that you answered them all.
Okay.
So I'm doing it mainly for my ease. So I can just very quickly go, okay, there are 7 question banks, and I can look through and see that you answered all of the question boxes. So if you don't do it in the right format, and I have to sit and glare at it and look and see, okay, well, is this one part of this one? Did they answer all the questions? This one? No, I'm not doing it. I'm just going to put it aside and you're not getting the points for it. So part of it is that you formatted it the way I want you to. Alyssa, what was your question?
I just wanted to check like when you list out how many questions or answers to the questions that there are, did you want that in the margin or outside the margin? Does it
That I
matter?
don't care.
Okay.
That I don't care. I do want the page number in the margin. Anything else is okay. In fact, you know what? Let me just take all the guesswork out. The only thing in the margin is the page number. And then the title at the top will be the number of the test block. And then questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outside of the margin. And yes, I can absolutely show the format again. Actually, you know what? I can do it like this. All right, so I have my notebook. This is how I want it. Now I'm just making up pages. Actually getting a page. All right, this is how I want it. I will show you exactly. All right. I have here at the top, chapter 1. I have the page number that I found the block, and I have the number of the block 1-1. There's question 1, question 2, question 3, however many questions there are. Next block I found on this page, there's the number of the block 1-2. There's question, 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 so on and so forth.
Do you want us to write the question and then the answer?
Oh, Ashley, get out of my head. Those words were literally coming out of my mouth right now. I was just about to say you do not have to write the question. You just have to write the answer. You're not graded on content. I'm not going through and making sure you are correct. I am simply giving you a completion grade. And we will be doing this for every chapter going forward. And on the day that we would have well, not on the day we would have a test, because you guys come in on different days. I'll announce when they're due. When we're looking to finish up a chapter, I'll say, okay, your test yourself questions will be due for you guys on this day and you guys on this day. I may even figure out if you can scan them and upload them into Moodle, but I'm still working on the whole Moodle thing. All right, so one last time. Here's my chapter 1 test yourself questions, or you can list it whatever you want. This is your study guide, but I want the page number in the margin. There's the number. I got that out of the textbook. That's the number of the block of questions. There's the questions, however many there may be. Skip a line. There's the next one, page 1-2, question, question, question. I don't care. Pencil, pen, Sharpie, colored pencils, markers, whatever. As long as I can quickly scan and see that you completed all of the questions for all of the blocks, crayons, heck yeah. Chalk, sure thing. Prick your finger, use blood, I don't care. Whatever, this is your study guide. So this is where you're going to start using the tools that I have given you during this study session, this lecture session. Coffee, heck yeah, no worries. Just whatever you want to use. Be as creative as you want to be. Whatever's going to make you remember it. I'm just grading that you did it. Quill and ink, yes, keep them coming. You guys are awesome. So